Spanish versus Portuguese. Which one should you learn? The answer is really simple. Both. That's the right answer. Because if you speak one of those, learning the other one is really, really easy. I am a native speaker of Spanish. It's one of my two native languages. And I learned Portuguese in 30 days. I went from zero, started from scratch, to conversational, relatively fluent in 30 days by just doing a few things. And then I kept improving by talking to people and listening to it mostly. So if you already speak one of them, or if you're learning one of them, there's no reason not to learn the other one as well. Mostly because there are hundreds of thousands of speakers of both languages all over the world, not only in Latin America. If you go anywhere in Europe, you'll meet people, Spanish speakers and Portuguese speakers, lots of them, like Brazilians, Colombians, Mexicans, they're everywhere, Argentinians. Last weekend I was in Berlin, visiting some friends and doing some business. And I went out with a mate, and he's German, but he's learning Spanish, so we were speaking a bit of both. And there was a moment where we met some Portuguese people, some Portuguese speaking Brazilian people, and he was like, "Wait, like if my Spanish is not all that good, and I still understand what you guys are saying, like I could learn this." And I was like, "Yeah, you should." And basically, um, what stops people from trying is that they are afraid of mixing both. Wow, if I learn two languages that are similar, I will end up like speaking a mix of both and neither of them well. That doesn't have to be the case if you do it right. Right? If you use language islands and sentence lists for both languages, and you use exactly the same sentences for both languages, and you do a lot of repetition with them, especially a lot of listening and a lot of shadowing with both languages with the exact same sentences. Although even if you do it with different sentences, it'll work. But especially if you do it with your language islands and the exact same sentences for both, you learn all the differences because 80 to 90% of the vocabulary and the grammar are very similar. Not exactly the same, but very similar, as you can see here. This is Spanish, this is Portuguese. They're very similar. And the way they're different is always the same. What I mean is, it always changes in the same way. So if you learn the patterns in which it changes, you can learn both very easily, and you can go back and forth relatively easily without much trouble. Basically, what you need to do is grab a list like this. This would be your language islands. So everything you would normally say in conversation, talking about yourself, meeting people, uh, your work, whatever, all the things you normally talk about. Write everything, translate it into both languages, and create audio files and read and listen to them a lot until you know them by heart and you know exactly what they sound like. So if you listen to the same sentences uh, after each other, so like you listen to your 1,000 Spanish sentences every day, and then you also listen to your 1,000 Portuguese sentences every day, the same day, so one after each other, one after another, you will learn all the differences in pronunciation as well. And that's basically it. It's as simple as that, right? Um, I get a lot of people who are spending time in Latin America, Argentina, Paraguay, Colombia, this and that, and then eventually they go to Brazil and it's like, should I learn this? And my answer is always yes, but learn it before you go there. If you're already in Buenos Aires and you are thinking of going to Rio or something, start learning before you get there. So then you'll already be conversational. If you prepare language islands before you go there and you do a lot of drills with them, so you listen to, if you've got 1,000 sentences, good sentences, useful sentences, that's less than an hour of audio, 50 minutes maybe. you listen to them and you repeat them aloud 20 or 30 times in Portuguese, and your Spanish is already decent, you'll be speaking Portuguese fine when you get to Brazil. That's basically it. People find the pronunciation challenging, but it's just learning a bunch of patterns, and that's it. You just have to imitate the sounds. It's really not that complicated. So you can learn both. It's simple as that. And by the way, this applies to Italian as well and French, which is slightly more different, but still pretty doable. Exactly the same way. But Portuguese and Spanish, basically 80 something percent the same. Learn both because you'll get a lot of good stuff coming your way if you learn both.